Hi, what's your name?
Jessica Gallison.
Hi, Jessica. What do you do here at Illinois State?
I play soccer here.
What's your major here?
Special education.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, so please explain to me an experience that most influenced you in terms of reading and writing.
Alright, so my junior year in high school, we had to read a book called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. And it's basically just a book about a young boy who has Asperger's, and it's all written in his perspective, and it's basically like his diary is like what the entire book is, and it's like a murder mystery novel, and it basically just goes on this kid's adventure on how he's the one who solves like the neighborhood murder. And for this book, after we were done reading it, we had to write a book report, like a book summary on the entire book, and then we also were able to write our own journal entry if we were the kid with the autism, on what we would see and what we would talk about and everything like that. So for the book summary, I basically like just went in depth and talked about the book, because this was like my first book in high school that I actually like really enjoyed reading and was able to connect to, and felt like I was actually like there in the book, and it was more of like, it was just a different type of read since it was like more of just journal entries and stuff like that. And then so for like my journal entry that I wrote, and if I were the kid with the Asperger's, I was able to really like let loose and like just like freely write about what I would go through and like what I would experience. And because of all that, it really made me interested in special education, and I started to like look more into types of diseases and stuff, and that's kind of how I became a major in special ed.
That's awesome. So how does this experience compare to other events, like things that you wrote before you read this book?
Well, books that I read before, we also, in high school, we had to do like book summaries basically for every book that we read, and a lot of it was just very like repetitive, like the same types of books that everybody reads in high school, and I really just wasn't interested in any of them. And this book especially just stood out to me because of the way it was written, and like the way that I was able to connect with it and relate it back to me wanting to become a special ed major. I was just really able to find like a passion in reading this book, and then writing the book summary was like a different type of book summary that I was able to write, because I was able to get more in depth with the book and relate better to it than reading any other type of book that everybody reads in high school.
Yeah, I completely get that. So how do you think this benefits your writing after this?
Well, now since in like college we're writing journal entries for this class especially, I was able to connect back to high school doing this when we had to write the journal entries, and it just like reminded me basically of when I had to do it for that class, and now I'm doing it now. And for English now, it's easier for me to do journal entries because I have the experience of doing them before for this assignment, and I'm just able to freely write about what's ever on my mind, or what my passions are, or how writing connects to me. And I feel like because I was able to do that before for a class, now it's benefited me in the long run.
Do you feel because that you connected so well with the character in this book that you're better able to relate to other characters in different books that you've read?
Yes, because now books, when I read them, I look more into like the character, like the main character especially, whereas before I was just kind of reading just to read. And after reading this book in my special ed classes now in college, we've had to read a couple other books about children with other disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, all that kind of stuff, and I was really able to connect with those types of characters too, because I just find a passion in that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I guess like for other types of books not related to any type of special needs, it's just like I don't really have an interest, but I'm still able to connect well with them because of this book and this assignment and everything like that as well.
So you feel like that no other book that you've read has really compared to?
No, so far this is probably one of my favorite books that I've ever read, because of just the way, really just the way it was written is just so different than any other type of book that I've ever read, because it's more just journal entries and some mystery book and written in the eye of a child who has a disability.
All right, Thank you very much.
Thanks.